So this is the first season of Overwatch Competitive that I decided to play and main support, and I essentially decided to do it because Brigitte was honestly my favorite kit design that has ever come into the game, and I kind of like Mercy as well, and overall I just wanted to change the pace a little bit and go from a tank main to a support main, because I was just kind of getting bored of that role. But after swapping to this role, I've kind of been disappointed a little bit with myself and with the capabilities of the role. In a lot of cases, I found myself just kind of staying at the same rank that I am. I was placed at around 3,400, a little bit above there, and I have around 10 hours, and I've still been there for quite a while. And overall, I've kind of had the problem where it's hard to have a big effect on the game by myself. But lately, I've been starting to do something that has been helping me, honestly, climb a lot, and honestly, feel like I'm doing a lot more in games and make my supporting feel a lot more important. And today I'm going to be talking about what that is, and it is really simple. Now, I'm going to say here that for myself, it has been a slow process and it has been a consistent climb. I'm not going to give you guys any extreme epic hype tips today that will immediately get you to the next rank. It will still take time, it will still take effort, you will still have to put in a lot of work, but these have, at least for myself, helped me be a lot more consistent in my play and helped me, over time, climb a lot better. Going from like 38% win rate at the beginning of the season, yikes, to like a 57%, which isn't the best, but still pretty good. Now, I'm going to say again right here, if you decide to pick up support or if you're already a support main, I'm going to say that it's not too hard to get a 50% win rate as a support. A lot of supports in games are just filling that role, a lot of supports aren't way too great, and even if you are playing against a support that is pretty good, well, I mean, you can be pretty good to counteract that. But it's kind of hard to make any huge plays with this role. It's kind of hard to make any consistent kills with this role. And in general, it's kind of hard to make yourself win and get a little bit higher. But again, today I'm going to talk about kind of what you can do about that. And as well, I'm going to say right here that I feel like there is one support, maybe two, that can actually kind of hard carry a game. And that's going to be Zenyatta, because you can get a ton of kills as him. And if you get amazing as him, you can play almost like a DPS. And Lucio, if you play a very aggressive Lucio, a lot harder on him though. But the problem for me is that I don't like Zen that much. I don't like Lucio that much. And if you do like them, you should probably be playing them because they probably are one of the best ways to climb if you get very good at them. But I'm mainly going to be talking about the other supports, but as well, this does apply to both those. So I guess keep that in mind. Now, off to the, I guess, magical tip to ranking up as this role and to having a lot of fun as this role. It's honestly not magical at all. It's so basic. It is to simply find somebody to duo with that you know is pretty good. And that's about it. For the first 10 hours of playing in this season, I tried to solo queue as much as I could because, as a person that's like, hey, I want to focus on myself, improve myself, not looking really worry about anyone else on my team. But as I've started to continue to do that, I've started to realize that, yes, I can get a lot better at support, and yes, I can continue to do well, but in a lot of games, the team comps just aren't working out way too well. In a lot of games, I'm getting no DPS mains or no tank mains or no anything. And a lot of games, I'm just not getting team comps that fit my support character and not getting players that I feel like I can really trust and really put all my support into. But by finding a duo, and it doesn't have to be a Smurf, it doesn't have to be an amazing player, just somebody in my rank that I won a game with, I've been having a lot more fun with this role and honestly been able to climb quite a bit faster. Every single day when I've actually climbed in the rankings, it has been by playing with other players. And again, a lot of times it's not even with DPS players, it's just with tanks or, with off-tank type players. I think a problem about support is that it is kind of hard to make plays directly by yourself, and it is kind of hard to trust your team enough to go for certain objectives. However, if you do simply do what any player can if they bother to, and duo queue with someone that you think's alright at the game, you can see yourself actually doing quite a bit more. And one thing that I find myself doing a lot more is actually going for more plays and going for more trusting maneuvers. And even if my teammate's not playing that well, oftentimes I'm finding myself playing better because I don't want to let them down, while at the same time, I'm trying to keep them alive the best I can, and I'm trying to make plays to make so that they can do plays the best that they can. Overall, I think that playing support is just very co-beneficial to both sides, the person that's playing support and the person that's playing with support. And with the other roles, I've found that you don't really need other players as much. Especially when playing off-tank last season as D.Va, I didn't really need my teammates, I could kind of just do whatever I wanted. When I was playing Reaper for a season or two, I didn't really need my teammates, I could just kind of do whatever I wanted. But with support, you do rely a lot on your teammates, and honestly, having a teammate that's duoed with you, that you enjoy being around, that you enjoy playing with, or that you just, won a game with last game, does help quite a bit in making supports do what they actually need to do. And one thing I'm going to say right here is that I feel like a lot of people think that, adding these people is very difficult, and finding a person you're going to have to, go on Reddit or go here or go there. And, you don't have a friend that plays any of these other roles. So, I'm just not going to do it. I'll just keep solo queuing all the time. It's honestly not very difficult to find somebody. In most cases, all the people I've found have just been random people from my games, and most of the time, their top ranking has only been, like, pretty low masters. They haven't been grandmaster players that are going to carry me out of my rank. They've just been pretty average players. But, we play a game, we win together. I noticed that they have a pretty decent Reinhardt, or an alright Doomfist, or a good Mei, or even a good Torb, or a good Symmetra, whatever it is. I add them, I play with them, and a lot of times, they won't end me back, but sometimes they will. And the times when they will, those are honestly where I get most of my big winning streaks. And of course, right here I'm going to say, if you can't get anyone to add you, it's completely fine. If you want to just play solo queue all the time, that's alright. But I do feel like there is quite a bit of benefit in playing with other people. But there you go with that. I guess that's my main first tip about how to climb with support. Duo queue, and really think about what you're doing with your duo, because yeah, that is so beneficial for both these roles. Now, my second thing I'm going to say right here is, I guess, if you don't have a duo queue and you aren't willing to do that, is that you should at least go into every single game with a plan. And mainly, you have to wait until you see your team comp, wait until you see the map. But after you have that, think about where you want to be standing for the most part, and what you want to be doing for the most part, and how you're going to be trying to aid your teammates. Don't think about where I'm going to be getting the most damage dealt. I mean, I guess unless you're Zen, which could be nice, but any of the other characters, don't really focus on that too much. I mean, if there are people next to you, of course, go for the damage. But otherwise, again, think about what your main focus should be. And especially when you see the enemy team, if they have a Genji and you're someone like Moira or Brigitte, well, decide that, hey, I'm going to be playing next to my other support pretty far back. Maybe I'll be losing a little bit of heals, but I can protect each other, and Genji's probably not going to get a wipe in that game. Well, on the other hand, if you're getting into a game, like Nepal or, Ilios or any of these other really good King of the Hill maps, you could think as Brigitte, I'm going to play really far in the front line, right next to my Reinhardt, and try to get as many shield bashes when I know his abilities are up, or when I see that his ultimate's up. Just go in with an idea of what you want to do, because I know a lot of support players, including myself in most cases, just kind of autopilot the game, which again can lead you to around a 50% win rate with almost no effort, but actually climbing, I think, does require a lot of effort as this role compared to DPS, which honestly, when I picked it up and played it, I could climb relatively quickly. It just took a ton of effort as well. So I guess that's kind of how that goes. Don't autopilot as this role. It just kind of won't give you anything good. Now, speaking of autopiloting, I know a lot of people do it, and a lot of people get really bad positions and die all the time. And one thing I'm going to say right here is that if you want to get better at support, and this is what I've been trying to do the most that I can, is to focus on dying as little as possible. And with Brigitte, this has been my number one thing I've been focusing on, because for the first, 7 hours, I think I was playing way too far in the front line. I just always up there, always shield bashing, always whacking, and I found myself to just getting shield bashed by the enemy Brigitte sometimes and getting one shot. And realizing later on that, hey, I probably shouldn't have been up so far. I probably should have been playing better to protect my teammates, make them safe, and live another day, or at least a few more seconds, to supply them with more healing and supply them with more crowd control. Overall, as I've been trying to die less, my teammates have also been dying less. And I think that's an important thing to do with all the supports. I think I'm going to say to all Mercy mains is that you don't need to see where your DPS are looking. You don't need to see where your tanks are looking. You should be hiding around walls, staying safe, and that's kind of it. Just try to focus on dying less, and I know that that is a pretty basic thing, but that will save you a lot of games where you might have not really thrown, but where you might have not been that useful. In general, that's a good thing about supports, I guess. Now, another thing I'm going to say right here is that if you do want to finally be a person that's a support player that does, make some big plays, you can pick up some good supports to do that. You can, again, pick up Lucio, Zen, even Brigitte, I think are all pretty good supports to do that. But I'm going to say that for all the other supports, you can still do pretty good plays, not really with your regular kit, but with your ultimates. And if you're in a team comp with, pretty good support ultimates, let's say you just even have like a Moira ult and a Mercy ult, or really whatever, you should be making callouts when you're going to ult, and you should be looking for when the enemy team is making mistakes, looking for when the enemy team is wasting a lot of their abilities, and looking for when the enemy team are making a lot of just over engagements. Because in a lot of cases, if you're yelling in chat, hey, I'm gonna ult, let's go in, and then you press the ult button, your teammates will probably go in. They're all being healed, they're all being defended. and you can oftentimes make a lot of really good well-timed plays. Now, of course, do look at what your teammates have, do look at what the enemies have, or what they probably have, and keep that all in consideration, but realize that, yeah, as a support, you can make plays with your ultimate, and you shouldn't always just be waiting to counter-engage. Of course, that is sometimes important, like if they have a Zarya, sure, you might want to save your ultimate as Zen, but in a lot of other situations, you can actually use it proactively instead of reactively, especially with someone like Moira, engaging with that, calling out who you're hitting, calling out who you want to kill. That can be extremely important. But in general, again, these are just some tips that I've been using and I've been trying to focus on to just kind of get better at the role. And of course, you should always be practicing your aim, should be thinking about who you're healing first, be keeping armor in consideration, be looking at ultimate economy, be making a few callouts, not too many, but a few, and do everything that, you know, everybody on your team should be doing that they oftentimes don't. But I wanted to go into some exact things that I've been trying to work out and do to help myself a little bit. And if any of these helped you or just kind of made you decide to finally try one of these ideas, make sure to tell me down in the comment section down below. I've been really enjoying the role. Maybe not having the most success or as much success as I've wanted to, but it's probably been the funnest time I've had in Overwatch for a while. So there you go with that. If you can't even rank up, at least this is a good way to have a lot of fun in Overwatch. With all that said though, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button if you want to see videos like this in the future if you are a support player. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.